Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Hello? Is this thing on? Is this working? Hopefully so. Ooh. Do I have me water? Yes, I have me water. For once in my life, I've got exactly 3/4 of a mouthful left in here, so that can only mean it's time to start stream. Hello, folks. Welcome back to Train Sim World. Yes, everyone's favourite game. Everyone's favourite game that they don't play. It's like everybody's got at least some level of fascination with Train Simulator, but nobody will ever play it. And I am your bridge to this world. Oh. Brilliant. Well, that's my 3/4 of a mouthful gone. Right then, so yes, welcome back to Train Sim World. I wasn't sure what I was going to play tonight, but I decided on playing this, based out of nothing more than I had to fiddle around with a game engine. Basically, a couple of days ago, and I say a couple of days ago, the developers for Train Sim World, if I find it in my Steam library, re-released the game as Train Simulator 2020. It's a big update, supposedly. I'll just get the patch notes up for you. Well, there's no real patch notes, to be honest. Oh no. Due to the extensive contents of the update, we have created a special page where you can see the full patch notes. Okay, let us go to the full patch notes and see what's going on here. Also, hello. It's not poker. It is not poker. Yeah. Unfortunately, my Oculus Rift just isn't playing ball, so I couldn't sort it out exactly. So let's see here. So there's training scenarios and other stuff. There's a diorama selector. I don't even know what this is. There's like a debrief screen now. I know this is like a comprehensive. I'll just link it in chat. There you go. Those are the patch notes for anyone that cares. They're in chat. Yeah. So there's been some stuff changed. They released a couple of new routes as always. I don't know whether there was any optimization done. Ambient road traffic. It looks like they've added like a lot of ambience, like a few of the lines. Transpennine has ambience. Great Western Express has improved sky visuals apparently. Some changes to some of the trains. Apparently it was meant to be a really big update. It kind of is. They have made some changes that we've been waiting for a very long time. Some of which I shall show you now. So yeah, alongside that, alongside the game re-releasing, I've also changed some of the INI files, the INI files that govern the game's engine. So The game looks a little bit better now, I'm sure you'll agree. If you remember the previous train sim stream that we did a few days ago, you'll remember how bad sort of, not necessarily the water looked, but like how the wet effects on the tracks, like the actual pop in for the high quality textures was about 6 feet in front of the train. So everything had like this really low quality like LOD around it. So this time, if I click this button and then this button, there we are. I have disabled a couple of things. I've increased the draw distance, which annoyingly is something you can't do in the settings of the game. You have to go into the like engine files, pun intended, train game and all. You have to go into the engine files and like manually or like artificially inflate the render distance. It's not something that they let you have any control with at a sort of access level in the game. You have to configure it at the back end. I've removed the motion blur because it just hides some of the detail, and I have removed like this weird like this eye compensation brightness thing that they added to the game for whatever reason, and the final result is that the colours don't look quite as washed out. You'll kind of see what I mean, but first of all we've got to choose a route. I've got some choice here. I've got like a European train line, the Ruhr-Sieg Nord. I've got some American train lines, I've got some old British rail stuff. I've got a rapid transit, I think this is a German rapid transit, yeah, S-Bahn Railway. I've also got some American stuff, some Great Western. I've got freight, if we want to do freight. CSX Heavy Haul might be an idea. Hackerman Inbound, that's me. So what kind of thing do you want? Do you want like well, I've clicked that one, and it's going to load up a thing, but yeah, what do we want to do? Thomas the Train is on his way, yeah. What do we want to do? We could even do this one, for all I know. We could do CSX, okay? CSX Heavy Haul, we'll do CSX Heavy Haul. We'll run some massive freight trains. Hope you don't jump off the train again. They've kind of made it Joe-proof now. So we'll do CSX. We'll do CSX Heavy Haul. This is the new route that they've added on the screen, the something Peninsula Railway, San Francisco to somewhere else, which is pretty cool. So we'll do some CSX Heavy Haul. I'm just going to go back to the main menu so that I don't have to do the tutorial, because I'm pretty sure I know how to run these trains, he says doubtfully. So first thing you'll note is that everything's like that little bit sharper. Even the background diorama here should look a little bit sharper. As I say, I've increased the settings artificially. Joe-proof, as if anything in this world is Joe-proof. It's very pretty true. Joe-proof X to doubt. The game any good? Ubermensch? Well, find out over the next few minutes. We shall certainly see. In terms of trains that are running on this line, we've got a choice of the GP38-2. Wait for the train to load. GP38-2. The AC4400, or the AC44. We've got that, it's one of the more modern trains. We've then got an SD40 and a GP40. We can really take out any of these, to be honest. They're all very similar in their makeup. But those are the only trains running on this CSX Heavy Haul line. 8 Ball has spoken. The last one, the GP40, Corson wants to see. Will Q crash the train? 69% for sure. Terrible. By saying 69%, I'm pretty sure Moobot's trying to say that I'm going to get fucked in a major way. Right, we'll take the GP28 out then. The time is currently 8:30, so I'll see if there's any 8:30 services. It is currently a clear summer evening, so I'm just going to put it as a clear summer's evening with the GP40. Let's continue. And we are running a very late train. Let's run this manifest train, Baltimore to Detroit. This is about this time, K557. So it's a little bit ahead of us in terms of time scale, but it should be nice and dark. And then we can go in there. Right. Yeah, I'm pretty much in trouble. I'm very much in trouble. This is the one, the Peninsula Corridor. Don't know whether this one's worth getting. You get those like double-decker, like American, like long-haul cars, which is pretty cool. Doug is driving, indeed. I think you meant playing a Blizzard. There may well be the opportunity for some Blizzard gameplay, like Overwatch or something. Yeah, you should hopefully see that here in the game, everything looks just a little bit nicer once everything's all popped in. And everything's just sort of waiting to load. The track in front of the train should be a little bit better. I need to find the cab light. Very good of them not to turn it on. The ditch lights I could put on. Yeah, I'll put the ditch lights on. I won't put the step lights on. Fuel generator on. Engine run on. Where is the cab light? There he is. So everything should hopefully look just that little bit sharper, which I think it is. That's the rear headlights. Put the front headlight on medium. Should be able to see out in front of us now. Probably don't need the ditch lights on, actually, now that I think about it, but... No, I'll keep the ditch lights on. I'll keep the ditch lights on. Right then, so we're going up to Hindman. Let's release the... Oh, well, let's set the reverser to a forward position, like so. And I don't think there's anything else that I need to do. Let's run a little bit of power through the train's generators and just start releasing the brake here. Throttle 2. Get some amps up. I've got the amps, not the traction. Is she trying to creep forward? I'm not sure. Independent brake is fully off. There we go. Beautiful. Independent brake is underway. So, a couple of things that you should know here. Control F2 to turn on and off motion blur. I had to disable it in the settings, Eve Killer. If it was in game already, then I apologise. Set train to maximum warp, aye sir. It's a general manifest, so this is a mix of stuff. Looks like we're running 2 GP38s in tow with each other, which is fantastic. Right. Engine pressure is good. We're on the flat and level. Need to run the horn twice. You're really supposed to do that before you start moving, but it's alright, we won't tell anyone. No one saw. Right. We are moving at a decent old pace as well, coming up to 11 miles an hour here. Takes a little bit to get this train moving, but we are in a very long train. A very long train indeed. In fact, the general manifest, you can see how long the train is that we're driving here. So there's plenty of horses required here to run this train. Let's kick it up to throttle 4. We'll roll in through the yard at about 15 miles an hour. No need to move at any other speed other than that. Very nice. That's medium headlights, by the way. Drop the throttle a little bit. At least a dozen horses, that's right. Yeah, I was going to say. I choose you. Welcome, Steel Titan. I choose you too. Welcome to the stream. You are currently joining us at about 12:53 in-game. Or, sorry, 20:53, so nearly 9 o'clock at night. On our way to Hindman with a general manifest train hauled by 2 GP40 CSX heavy haul locomotives. At the moment, we're in the yard at... I'm not entirely sure where we are. What this place is called on the route map. It doesn't really have a name. I'm not sure really, but we'll see. Could give the train a few beans, although there's not there's not really any points. Let's just let her coast for a little bit. We're going to be going up the mountains. You can see the mountains in the background there. We're going to be going up that way. That is our destination. As soon as we start getting out of this yard here. You can see the bell there if I turn the bell on. Turn that off. I used the bell. Get some XP for the train. Right, our 15 mile an hour speed limit is coming up. I'll run a little bit of independent brake. That's the locomotive brake. should hopefully slow us down a little bit. I don't need it to slow us down much, just a little bit. Really, the independent brake is going to have no effect on a train this size, but it should hopefully just enough braking force to sort of bring us down to the correct speed. We can release the brake here around the 16 mile an hour mark. Although that said, we are on a very, very slight 1 in 1,000 downhill gradient, so we should be mindful of that as we roll to our 15 mile an hour speed limit mark in about 500 yards. Some of you may notice that we've only got this lead indicator here, this objective indicator. At the moment, in the top right, we have taken the signal and speed indicators and we have moved them like off to the side, basically, so we are not using those at all, really, which is nice. Right, we've got a little bit of an uphill gradient here, a 1 in 200, so we're going to want to feed the train some juice so that it can stay powering through despite the gradients. Give it some beans. We'll be rolling out of the yard here very shortly. You can see our general manifest all the way back there. So yeah, I've upgraded the sort of engines and the settings in the game so that everything just looks better. Like, you can see the track renders much better now. And if we ever get onto a map with overhead lines, that should measure better as well. Generally speaking, everything is sorted, really. 20 mile an hour. We've got to move for about a mile at this slow pace, running parallel with a small service road here. We're pretty much leaving the yard now as we come up through here. We're sort of getting on the main line like. As we leave the yard, all very picturesque at night. I like it. Snail speed, yeah, it's slow coming out of the yard. Although, if you think about how many tons we're moving, 15 miles an hour is not insignificant. Up through here. Yeah, we're sort of getting to the edge of the yard now. I'll be out on the main line soon. Very pretty. I'm surprised that this isn't the default like game setting for this, the default settings for this game. Like, this looks phenomenal. Like, I don't know why all the motion blur and stuff. Sure, there is a couple of drop frames here and there, but it's not bad by any means, right? How many cars do I have on? I don't have an exact count as we go across this level crossing here.
Oh,
Thank you very much there to Boralis for the tier 1 sub for 18 months. That said, I do just need to quickly tab out to the live tab and back in, so that we can thank a few of the people who subbed before, namely Sarah Barnett there. I didn't forget you. Cube wave to you, sir, or madam, or... well, I'm doing a serious assigned genders here. Or maybe we do. Who knows? It's top secret. There we go. We've got the green light ahead of us. We are the only green light cleared out of the yard here. Like I say, we're getting to the edge of the yard. We're not quite there yet. This is like the run to the yard as we come through this area here. Pulling about 14 miles an hour as we go through. Absolutely fine. It's quite teary when you move the camera quickly, I know. Once we actually get out into the sticks and we're not in like a dense urban area, the game's performance does definitely pick up. I've got a very tiny FPS counter in the top right, which is currently set at, it's about 30 FPS through here, which is definitely not the worst. It would definitely be worse if we had bad weather. We'll be going up to 25 mile an hour very shortly. We do pick up a bit of speed once we leave the city, but we have to sort of obliged to go slow here. Did you know that U-Boat got a major update a couple of weeks ago? Aircraft are now considerably less accurate at dropping bombs, especially in bad weather conditions. That's very interesting, Ashtaroth. But some people may know ZF Sheep from the ZF clan. And I was talking to him just yesterday about U-Boats, and he still said it was not in a very good state. Oh, hello. We need to just give the train a little bit of brake force. Had a little bit of downhill there. We'll be coming up to 25 mile an hour here as we cross this level crossing. It's going to take a long time for the arse of our train to cross over that 25 mile an hour boundary. So we're still going to be moving at this speed for quite some time. Just using the independent brake to kind of feather the train to the speed it should be at. It's kind of difficult to micromanage it as we go over here. Still on a downhill gradient, reasonably steep for a train of this size. Looks like we've got a slight uphill coming in just a moment as we roll down here. Yep, looks like an uphill gradient. Frames per second are starting to slowly climb as we come to the edge of the city. As I say, in order to increase the visual performance of the game, you have to increase the render distance, and the render distance means increasing how far obviously you can see. Means that there's more objects on scene, makes it more difficult. Right, we've got to drag our arse up this hill like. As of this moment in time, we've got to still use the brake, even though we're going uphill. There we go, we're up to 20 mile an hour. Let's release the brake. We'll let the weight of the general manifest pull us up the hill. Now we've got to give it some engine. A lot of power from the two locos here. Excellent stuff. Would be interesting if you drove one of those bullet trains. We can take some high-speed trains out. I've got one high-speed train on the Great Western Main Line, and we could take the Acela Express out as well. To throttle 2 as we come up here. We'll be up to 35 mile an hour in about a mile. All very good. Just let a bit of that night breeze in. Give it a bit more juice as we come up here. We're up to 25 mile an hour. Let's find some horses. Yeah, once you get out of the city, or look away from the city anyway, the performance does start to improve. As we get out into the sticks here, it will start getting better. There you go, got the mirror. Doesn't work. Would be nice if they got the mirror working. Brilliant. Up a 1 in 340 hill, 453. Gradient slowly dropping. And take a little bit of a power off the train. Just a little bit there, as we drag most of the general manifest up. Can you turn off the motion blur on its own, or is it tied to the FX? Well, somebody said that you can use Control F2 to turn off the motion blur. I didn't know that you could do that, so I've disabled it in the settings. Like actually gone into like the base games, like engine files, and turned it off there, and it seems to do a good job. So on the flattened level, let's get it up to throttle 3. There we go. Beautiful. So we're going to be climbing off into the mountains here. You can see it's got quite rural. We're going to crank the brightness of the headlight up all the way, I think, to bright, which is now the power of a small sun. But we're not really in an area anymore where it would necessarily be irresponsible to do so. So the step lights are there, that's there. I'm sure there is gauge lights somewhere, wherever the hell they may be. Engine run, step lights, gauge lights on. There you go, turn the gauge lights on. We could even turn the off for the meantime. There we go, we've got the gauge lights. Allows us to see out a little bit easier. We could turn on her light if we could figure out where it was. Let's turn mine back on for a second. There's that. Can I see her light? Just there, cab light. I can put hers on and turn mine off. There we go. It's alright. Oh, we're going over the speed limit. Let's idle a little bit. Just give myself a little bit of independent brake. Get the train under control. Just coasting here, very nice. Do you have a limited time to reach your destination? You have a time to be there, but not necessarily a limited time. You can be late. Quite a steep uphill gradient. We'll just give the engine a few amps to chew on as we come up here. We're actually just going via Hindman. Looks like the 11-mile mark is not our destination. Just where we're going via. Throttle power 5. Engine's really got some power now. Up we go. Like I say, we've got a 50-mile-an-hour bit going to be coming up soon. Our speed limit should be increasing to 35 in the not-so-distant future, as a result of the fact that we've got to wait for the arse of the general manifest to get over the rear portion here. Not bad at all. Going okay. It's just gone sort of 5 minutes past, 6 minutes past 9 in game here, as we climb this 1 in 1,000 hill. Performance of the game is improving ever so slight. In for the second game, Womble has asked. Not tonight. Not tonight, bud. Right, there we go. We're up to 35 mile an hour. That's just Womble asking if I wanted to do poker. But my Oculus Rift still needs setting up, so I wouldn't be able to stream poker because it's not set up in that way. Bud equals twat, yes, miss opportunity. Up to 35 mile an hour. We'll be going up to 50 mile an hour in about 1 mile. But we've got about half a mile of train, so it'll take us a while to get up to that point. Going around this corner here. Getting a bit of a shimmy on now. 35 mile an hour for this many tons of locomotive is a decent speed. Very, very nice. Oh yes, you met Womble IRL. So just how ginger is he? Well, it was overcast and raining and he got sunburn. So that should tell you everything you need to know about how ginger he is. Very sharp left-hand turn here. 1 in 146.
Oh,
Drop the power a little bit.
yeah.
Thank you very much to Haggis Man for the tier 1 sub, sir. Welcome aboard. Or welcome on board, I should say. Making good time as we come through this crossing. Very good. Yeah, we've got a decent shimmy on here. This is fast for a freight train this size. And it's only going to get a little bit faster because we're closing on that 50 mile an hour mark with decent speed. He sunburns in a dark room, you got it. No sun, no sunburn. Yep. Down we go. Very sharp right hand curve here. Problem is that the sort of gradients that we're dealing with are so steep and the mountains are so sort of unforgiving. Kind of have to snake our way through them. What's this light for? So just a route marker 7950. No idea what those numbers mean. They might not even be route markers. Won't be long before we're up at the 50 mile an hour mark. You can get some more speed on this train as we climb up into the mountains here. It's a big train, this. But the Americans have to run trains this big, just because of the amount of supply they need to move through this rail network. Like, it's not. It's only 2-track, northbound and southbound. But I think this one might even be east and westbound. But yeah, like, they have to move a lot of stuff and only a finite amount of track time that they can put trains on the rails. So they have to build these enormous general manifests to shift all the goods that sort of run pretty much round the clock. There we go. Speed up. We'll get it up to throttle 7. But yeah, we're going to be giving it the beans now. Up to 50 mile an hour in our general manifest freight train. Speed limit sign 50 for the... Sorry? Is it a speed limit sign? I'm not sure. Could be. It's a 0.6 mile long train. They should make these high speed. Imagine a bullet train of this size. Imagine stopping a bullet train of this size, Sergeant Queef. Imagine stopping like this many tons. We're still going round the corner at the back end there. I think the arse of our train's only just come round the corner. Like, this is a load of train that we need to try and stop. A lot of train.
Oh,
A green light ahead.
yeah.
We're going to roll up here. Umlaut. Driver, engage the overdrive. We shall maximum throttle, as it is the order we have been given. Get us up to that 50 mile an hour mark. This train is hauling arse now. Let's quickly pan the camera up here. What I believe is this crossroads. Let's pan the camera to here, like a civilian watching the freight train come through. That is sick. You wouldn't want that hitting you. Look how long this train is as well. I'll keep an eye on the speed, but look at it. It is a lot of kinetic energy. There we go. I wonder if the barriers will lift. I wonder if they've modelled that. Probably not. Oh. The train was actually so long I had to go into a loading screen. Oh, is that another train on the other line there? No, no, it's just some lights. Get a bit more power on as we're slowing down. Get a bit of juice on. Got a downhill gradient, so we could coast. Yeah, it's probably worth coasting. No, no, we'll give it some juice. Excellent. Silent train. Only took a minute to pass. I suppose that's not too bad. Climbing this 1 in 2, 3, 1 gradient, which is a decent percentage for the size of the train that we're hauling. Yeah, we're moving at a decent speed here. Very nice. Absolutely flying along. See, now that we're out here in sort of the sticks, the speed, like the game speed, it's only 40 FPS, but it's do you know, it's nice enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, this game doesn't look bad in 40 FPS. We're getting about 50 when we're looking out like this. Bring the power down a little bit. Just have a look at this train as we roll past. We'll give it a horn as we come through. .50 mile an hour mark still. A minute to pass at 50 mile an hour. Thank you very much there to Ventrix OG. Is that for the host? It's very kind. 'Tis too dark. Can we have a daytime one next? We certainly can. Got a green signal in about a mile.
Oh, yeah.
Kameradenschwein, thank you very much for the 15 months. Welcome aboard, sir. Right. Train's moving at a fair old pace.
Oh, yeah.
And thank you very much to Little Me 02. Thank you very much for the 13 months. Very good of you. Welcome, welcome. Very good. Right. This is fast for a train this size. Like, this is not an insignificant haul. Yeah, without the motion blur, this looks so much better. Like, it is better. There's not any weird particle effects on the screen. Got a 1 in 147. This is a steep hill for a train this size. Yep, we're even slowing down here on throttle 6. Give it throttle 7. There we go. Fighting the drag here. Very good. Imagine the momentum, yeah. Yeah, you would not stop this train in a hurry. Beautiful. Still got a green signal up ahead. That's us, the green light. Excellent job. Absolutely enormous freight train. We'll fly the camera down there. We come up here. You can fly the camera. You can fly camera number 8, literally like all the way up, which is nice. Fly it all the way up to this signal. We'll just wait here. Sort of see us in the distance there. For some reason the light isn't rendering. It might pop in when we get a bit closer. Yeah, it looks like the light doesn't pop in. That would have been a shame. It would have been quite nice to see the light. Well, not in that way. Lovely. Absolute unit of a train, it really is. A bit of a beast. Plenty of horses hauling this train. Yeah, you got to appreciate why they don't run any faster than like 50 miles an hour. Jesus Christ. Imagine stopping it. We're still going via Hindman, but instead of being 11 miles out, we are now 2.6. As we run up on approach, speed limit is still 50 miles an hour. We've been on a steady climb all this time. We're really sort of out here in the woods at the moment. Give or take about 10-9 miles from civilization. Very good. I'm enjoying this. IE Get says, the power plant in my city is served by a coal train 1.5 miles long. Each coal car weighs approximately 120 tonnes. Stopping the train from 50 miles an hour requires 2 miles with full brakes and reversing. One, the way up from the yard, the train can only get up to about 35 mile an I'm guessing that's on the way up from the yard. The train can only get up to about 35 miles an hour for safety reasons. That's crazy. 2 full miles to brake the train. I should probably consider that at some level. Like if you set up the engine properly, as I have, the game engine, they have made a very pretty game. Like, I'll give them that. We're still set to be travelling at 50 miles an hour, which is good. Travelling at 49 at the moment, which is fine. Brilliant. An average freight train weighs between 3,000 and 18,000 tonnes. It's quite an unforgiving piece of steel, yeah. Yeah, you'd know about it if it hit you. Some light up here on the train track. I'm not sure what that is. Looks like we might be crossing some sort of building. Jesus Christ, that's very close. But the side of that bridge is very close to the train, right. Oh, we've got something up here, no idea what. A 1 in 115 hill. We're going to feel that as we drag ourselves up here. But we're nearly maxed out on the throttle trying to get up here. Well, we are maxed out on the throttle. This is Hindman then. We're going to come breezing through here. We'll be slowing down to 25 mile an hour, so we're going to start coasting. In about a mile. This is Hindman. We're going to apply initial reduction on the train brake. Okay, it's slowing down at a decent speed. I'll wait for us to travel a bit further. We're on a 1 in 78 incline here. We've got a whistle here, as per the white signal. I'm going to give it some juice here, as we're now down at the 25 mile an hour mark. I need to build up some amps in the train here. Wanted to make sure the train was going the right speed before we hit the speed restriction coming up. 25 mile an hour. The train's actually still struggling here to even climb up this incline here. 22 miles an hour. I'm giving her all she's got. We're running about 850 amps through the system. She's starting to tackle it. This is an incredibly steep incline for this train. It would have been much better if they just let them fly up here at like 50, but slowing down to 25 is the will of the folks. It's 11 miles to Manse, it looks like. Speed restriction's about to hit. Wonder why it's 25 here. We're down to 2 track. Must be tight curves. Down to a 25 mile an hour speed restriction. 1 in 71, which is a hell of a lot. We are flat out on the throttle at the moment. Can't go any faster than this. All brakes are released. So it's just that this train is really struggling to get up this hill any longer, and it wouldn't be able to. Mile an hour. We'll drop it down to throttle 7. Yeah, very tight curves to be taken at 50 mile an hour. This, yeah, around the mountain. Yeah, we're getting up into the high bits now. Really rocky outcrops that we're trying to power past. Give the train some more power as the gradient increases to 1 in 65. What trains do you drive in? I'm guessing it's Zanister? Zanister, I'm assuming the name is. Apologies if I'm getting that wrong. What train do you drive? Do you drive like the S-Bahn trains, or do you drive any of the DB and Schenker trains? What is your poison, sir? Do you drive the double-decker carriages ones? Just tell me straight. I'll contain my glee. Those trains are cool as fuck. But the rail infrastructure here in the UK can't handle double-decker carriages, so boo. A BR 146. I think that train might even be in this game. I'm not sure though, it could be. Keep pushing through at this speed. Again, we are still flat out here. GP40 at this point in its service history, shall we say. Quite, I drive the double-decker ones. Oh, yeah. So, I'm assuming with the double-decker ones, you obviously have like a electric locomotive at one end of the train, and then the it does have a name. I'm sure you're aware of what I'm trying to say, but it's like the I want to call it the cockpit, but it's like the passenger car has a cabinet at the other end. Cube squee, that's right. Ah, the double-decker trains are the best. They really are. They're so cool. Beautiful. Now we're still going at an okay pace here.
Oh, yeah.
In the box. Hello, sir. Welcome, welcome. Thank you very much for the 8 months. How are you doing this fine eve? Hopefully you're doing well. We're currently here hauling many thousands of tons of General Manifest cargo, would you call it? Up this mountain track here through a place called Mance, or up to a place called Mance, in about 10 miles or so. Got a green signal here, so we're okay. Keep moving.
Oh, yeah.
Bushiski, thank you very much for the tier 1 sub, sir, for 2 months. Trains and stuff. Apart from the deafening racket that is this GP28 locomotive, hopefully you will find things to be somewhat relaxing. This is a bit more of a relaxing game. If I'm not thraping the engine, though, for every amp it has, I'm sure it'd be lovely and sort of chill as we sort of rattle our way through this beautiful countryside here. Excellent. So far, so good. What did you say? It's for comedic effect. I got it. I got it, Foul. Yeah, these are some really tight corners, man. Yeah, there's no way you'd be able to get a train like mine at 50 miles an hour through here.
Yeah.
Galizerade? Nearly nearly a year if forgetting to unsub. That's fair enough. If you were wise, you would unsub now in this moment of remembrance in the same way that I did. When I realised that I was accidentally paying for a Streamlabs Pro subscription and didn't realise that I was paying for a Streamlabs Pro subscription until I opened my PayPal to check the donations after the LA Noir stream yesterday, and I saw that Streamlabs have helped themselves to $6.99 or $5.99 of Joe's, well, I'd say hard-earned cash, lackadaisically earned cash. So yeah, that was a little bit, I was like, what? Okay, I shall investigate further. Right. In the box, 1,000 bits with Atmos Jaina in the tag and the obligatory yee. And Foul there, gifting 5 subs. Thank you very much, sir.
Oh,
Congratulations to Michelle Eki, Jala Games, Chappie, Langerwack, and is that Zidian? Congratulations all for your subs there. Enjoy your emotes. There are many of them, all made by the lovely Miss Boo Boo Dingo on Twitter. They are yours to play with now. Yeah, enjoy them. Thank you very much, Foul.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Are we having another sub-giving streak? Who knows? I guess that makes up for the $6.99.
yeah.
It does in its own way. I'm very grateful for it. Like I say, it all goes into the Tiny Couch Fund that me and Miss Jenna are using to move in together at the in the June.
Oh, yeah.
June of next year. So it all goes to a good cause in a way. It will be buying us things like a fridge, a bed, a mattress, stuff like that. So that's it all goes. It's all going on like furniture, basically. Yeah. So it'd be very nice, and I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm very much looking forward to getting out of my parents' house. Like I'm only 21. Like some people live with their parents for a lot longer than that. But I'm a couch, yes. Yeah. I'm gonna buy £1,300 worth of condoms. Yeah, why not? And then wear them all on my head and run into a wall. Like that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, I'm looking forward to moving out. Yes, I'm only 21, Shadow Killer. I apologise. I'm only 21. A lot of people don't think that I am only 21. A lot of people think, but I promise it's down there in the description of the stream. I am only 21. It's not. You've not been bamboozled. Hey now, how long live you back? I'm nearly 25 and I still live with my dad. Yeah, I'm not hating. I wouldn't even be try to hating. I wouldn't even be knocking anybody that still lives with their parents. Like, go for it. Like, absolutely do. Anyone does whatever. You don't sound 21. I'm 25 and my voice is not that great. Well, neither's mine. My voice isn't great. People tell me my voice is great, but it's not that great. People I think are just flattery. Flattery will get you everywhere. Apparently, with me. You're about 1 to 2 years younger than I am. Woo. A woo? No. 30 here, Foul. Elf says, with 1,000 bits, sir. Thank you very much. You've been 21 since I subbed. And I've been subbed for 15 months now. I genuinely forgot my age last year. I thought I was 21 before I was 21. I hope you take that with the seriousness that it deserves. I genuinely couldn't remember whether I was 20 or 21 last year. I was 20. I will be 22 on the 29th of August. So in 12 days. Holy shit, I'll be 22. I'll be an old man. Senile much? I genuinely forgot how old. I don't know. I mean, as soon as you hit like 20, it all sort of blurs together. Like, I mean, I could be 43. I wouldn't know. But yeah, it's Cube Old. That's right. Cube Farm. 2,000 bits there from the Elf Wearer. I am now winning. Oh dear. The Midlands accent makes anyone sound unvolcular. You have introduced me to a word of which I am not familiar. My vocabulary extends every day. Elf, that is a disgusting amount of bits you have dropped with us this evening. It's very kind of you. And with the couch, don't forget the fishes called Catla and Tobe. Oh yes, we're buying some fish. What fish did you want to get? Were they like Japanese fighting fish, or was that what I wanted? I can't remember. We should get like a little prawn. Oh, there's the whistle signal. I think it's 2 long, a short, and then a long. That's how you signal you're approaching a crossing. And Volcula, kind of friendly towards the younger or less experienced person. No, a job in retail did that. Shadow Killer, you feeling old to 22? The next big thing for me is 30 in 5 years. Then you're old, out of the 20s. It's going to be horrible. I'm sure it'll be fine. You're going to be rollerblading to work. It's brilliant. I think the thing that I'm looking forward to most in life is that if I ever... does 69 fucking with the meme, and then 1,000 bits from fucking Elf. Retail increases mental age by at least 10 years. It really does. Holy fucking shit, Elf. And in the box, what are you doing? What are you doing? We're literally travelling at like 20 miles an hour through the hills. It does not warrant that kind of financial response. What is going on with the bits? Cease. At Long in Quebec, just don't eat the fish, cough, sushi stream, cough, wrenches loudly into plastic tub with other sushi. Yeah, the sushi stream was an absolute nightmare. Although, I've had properly made sushi, which I believe I'm going on a date with Jane to get properly made sushi on Monday at Yo Sushi, the sushi bar. If you're familiar with that, I don't know how international they are, but they're definitely international enough to come from Japan to here. But yeah, I'm going to be going for a yo sushi, or at least that's what I told her. If going to Burger King, like, she's none the wiser. No, yo sushi. It's going to be really nice. Oh, we got a tunnel. Look at this. Ooh. Got a beep in, a peep. It's only a short one. Lovely. Yo Sushi, is that a sub-partner of Yo Mama? Could well be, I don't know. Thank you very much, NCR, King Q, King NCR, and proud. Anybody from the Caesars Legion in chat? I never thought trains could drive that slow. What do you mean? What do you mean? Look at this. 25 miles an hour. We're screaming along. Absolutely screaming along. Just going to have a drink of water here. Oh my god, Elf with another 1,000 bits. To be honest, this game causes me to spontaneously donate. I'm also done now. Okay, well, Elf, thank you very much for your generosity. I'm not sure what the game was you were playing, but, well, I don't know. Thanks, I guess. Holy shit, dude. That's very, very generous of you. I'm not really sure what to say. Thank you, I guess. Apparently this is the content people love. Question mark. Cube thonk, if I had it. This game, Train Sim World. Yes. Not just Train Sim World. Train Sim World 2020. The re-release. The sequel. The sequel. The sequel. Is anyone from the ZF Discord server, Lee? No, I don't think so. Bao admits that he likes trains. There is a certain fascination with them. Ooh, look at this. We're being spoiled in about 1,000 yards or so. We're going up to 30 miles an hour. Ooh, here it comes. 30 miles an hour. Isn't that going to be a treat? Snaking like this through the mountains. Drop speed a little bit.
Oh,
just get that needle on the right side of the speed limit. Where are there? Gifted a tier 1 sub to Foul, or Foulmore. Thank you very much for the 13 months, or sorry, 13 subs even, for the channel, Vera. Thank you very much, very kind. Elf tips Fedora. You're more than welcome to tip your Fedora here, sir. Very, very kind. This game is Q reads chat. Chat Sim World, yes. Don't get used to it. Joe doesn't read chat often.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Shadow Killer. I guess you could do the dishes and we would still donate because you doing it and it would be awesome as fuck. Also, dishwashing stream when? I guess Miss Jana would support that idea strongly and we would get more time with Q. : capital P. A dishwashing stream. If I ever did a dishwashing stream, it would be 15 minutes long, and it would just be I would look like dead into like a camera just behind the sink, like, and not blink. I'd just look square at it. Like, really disconcerting. Just, yep, supported. There we go, Ash. Straight in. Shadow Killer, yep, that's what will make it happen. Just a 15-minute dishwashing stream. Where I just stare at it. I'd watch that. You're selling it too well. I apologise. I'm on board. The entire chat. It's the content I've always wanted. 15 minutes silent, then drops plates. Unfortunately, the plates are brand new. 30 mile an hour engaged, not just yet. In fact, to be honest, that's really annoying, because this section of track is 30 miles an hour, but by the time the arse of our general manifest gets over the 30 mile an hour mark, and we're going to be back down to 25, which is a bit of a bother. I have been sort of skirting around the idea of playing Skyrim again. Is it something people would even want to watch? It's a very old game. Like, we could do Skyrim again, I guess. It's potentially an idea. Stop speeding up, damn it. Keep tiptoeing over the speed limit. Yeah, look at that. We got 30 yards of 30 mile an hour speed limit before we went back down to 25. Install the Sex Dungeon mod in Skyrim. No. The power of Todd Howard compels you. It just works. Like wood lemonade, like wood lemonade. He's never going to shake that. Terms of service? Yes. What is your answer to the terms of service? Yes. Skyrim Toaster Edition, that's right. Gotta feather the throttle through here. Man, I miss your shit-talking in Divinity streams and Deep Rock Galactic. Yeah, I know. There was going to be some... Well, I tried to sell the idea of Deep Rock Galactic tonight, but the guys wanted to do VR. And like I say, sadly, my Oculus Rift here, I haven't properly loaded it up in ages, and it's unfortunately like it's sitting here kind of not talking to the Oculus software. So it's a little bit all over the place, really. So I couldn't get it running before the stream started. I'm not a massive fan of poker, I gotta be honest. For some people it really rubs them the right way. Not really my cup of tea, unfortunately. I tried to sell the idea of doing Pulsar Lost Colony VR, but again that didn't get any traction. I want to try and sell the idea of maybe doing No Man's Skies VR, because that's a VR game I could potentially just play on my own, to be honest. Because VR is very cool. The only problem that I had with VR last time was I did do some VR Alien Isolation, and there was a problem with motion sickness. I've got a heavy head. It's full of facts that nobody asked for, and it kind of lolls around a lot when it's got a heavy headset, VR headset on it. And there's a few people reported being a little bit motion sick. Oh, it was ages ago. I didn't complete it, Shadow Killer. I only sort of tried it out. But yeah, I gave it a go. Like, could even go back and play it. Who knows? Halloween approacheth, which is a terrible idea and is a commitment that I may or may not make. Sort of speeding a little bit there. Not in the red, but not in the green either. It's because of the Divinity streams that I call Flesh Sacrifice Elf Harm and bombastically call out Epidemic of Fire. Oh, and I steal everything in sight. I steal everything in sight too. That is something that has followed... My light-fingeredness has followed me into all playthroughs of any game I've ever played. For example, here on this train sim game here, I have stolen many hearts. Ah. Ah. And by that I mean people apparently quite like train sim games. It's because I'm from Birmingham. That helps. It's like a natural perk point. And my money, yes. And before Q steals the railway behind him. Yep, the rear coach here is just sort of... It's got like a big scoop and it's just picking up railway ties. It's... For some reason the sound isn't rendered back here. Imagine seeing a train this size, this quietly rolling through your neighbourhood. Like... as disconcerting as the word. Ghost train, literally ghost train. At Longley, Quebec can confirm, also from Birmingham, used to steal the school supplies, didn't even need them, just couldn't help myself. What did you used to go for, Comrade Taxiderry?
Yeah.
Bloody Melkor, 112 in there with the crazy 10 subs. Thank you very much, sir. Congratulations to 8 Chill 1989, Tix 92, John Doe 101, Sinatra W,
Yeah.
and Mr. Ivor VRA, Classy Orca, Hamfist 2, Lazy Floptard. Commendments on the username, sir. The Stoned Viking and Sprixo. Thank you very much for the to all of you that I've just named there. Enjoy your subs. You have got Melkor to thank.
Yeah.
Enjoy your emotes and so forth. Brilliant. When that Skyrim Alexa come in? Alexa?
Yeah.
Playing Skyrim on Alexa. What an idea. It was quite funny. We started asking... We asked her, when I was over at Digby's for the barbecue, it's something that wasn't streamed or anything, it was just on the afternoon. We were asking his Alexa, Amazon Alexa, loads of questions, and then we started going, Alexa, you know, play fart sounds, play wet farts, play long farts, you know, just for our amusement. But then she couldn't break herself out of that mode. So then when we asked her, like, Alexa, what is the meaning of life? She just went... It was actually the funniest thing I've ever witnessed in my entire life.
Yeah.
Alexa, cast Fireball at Orc, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Alexa, play Despacito, that's it. You had her gassy, I really did. Right. So far, so good like. Going via Mance, 4.4 miles. It's a long haul, this one. Everyone dies with the farts, and that seems reasonable. It's true. It's true. What's the guy from Game of Thrones like, where he's like, but my mum passed, bless her, the old bed shook. And he just farts with his tongue. Terrible. So it's screwed, the curse again, the curse of Moobot's revolver. Right. 4.1 miles from Mance. On the way we are. We are going via Mance. I'm not sure if it's the summit of the mountain Mance, but we're still climbing. And at a hell of a rate too. Brilliant. But isn't that the death rattle that makes you shit yourself or something, since you relax totally? It must be very bad for, like, the fucking, I don't know, for whoever finds you afterward. Like, have a Vindaloo the night before you go. Ooh, You'd burn all the hair off the coroner's head. You must play Isolation to the end, upload it to YouTube so everyone can see your bitchness. It must be done. Potentially. Only you would think of that. Yeah, you're probably right. Hello, is that Aljaz? Aljaz Bird. Hello, welcome. Some ASMR train by Q. I don't know about ASMR, like I'm kind of thraping the train up this mountain pass here. I've literally got the train maxed out at like full throttle, and we are just barely hanging on to with our fingernails 24 miles an hour. It's about as much as this train can handle at the moment. How you doing, Aljaz? Welcome. But isn't it the cheeks that contain the fart? What? What? No? I want to wait 5 minutes and the topic's gone to poo? Well, no, to farting. We're not totally uncivilized. Right, 3 miles from our sort of through point by Mounts. Going to the mountains tomorrow. Is that like another like peas stalled in the balls thing? Cheeks put power into the fart.
Yeah.
Is that right? I don't know about that because I've had some pretty deep stomach farts before that the cheeks have played no part in delivering. It just was like a sad, wet didgeridoo. I don't know, just from the bowels of the earth. A didgeridoo, as I call them. Anyway, that's enough with the metaphors. And God, did they smell, yeah. TMI, my dude. I apologise. They're telling stories. Well, officially weirded out chat forever. Wouldn't be the first time. Foghorn farts, lovely. Nothing if not flattering. Thank you. Puddle of Fun, did I miss your sub, sir? If I did, I apologise. Or maybe it's not popped up yet. But all the same, thank you very much.
Oh, yeah.
Freddie B! Story time? Is that the one with the wasp in the tube? Oh, that one. The wasp. Have people not heard that story? I think I've told that story before. Some of you may remember this story, but I shall tell it for the sake of Freddie, because I think you asked the other day about it. So, the story of the wasp in the tube. I hearken back to days long since gone of good old Steve-O in the lab. Regulars of the channel will remember stories of Steve and the antics that we share. He basically he's a bit of a serious geezer. Is Steve? He's bold as an acorn, and he moves at like a mile a minute. He rushes around, does 100 jobs at once. He's basically juggling everything. Gets stressed very easily. It was a nice summer's day upstairs, and summer was in full swing. And well, we captured a wasp in one of the pods. The pods being the plastic bottles, I would guess I would call them, that we put into the pod system. So I'm sure you've seen them in like mail rooms and mail houses, like that tube system where you put like a letter into like the pod, and then you put the pod in the tube and it goes thoomph, and like goes around the office to wherever it needs to go. As bold as blade. A perfect metaphor. But yeah, we basically captured a wasp in this pod. And we thought, you know what, Steve in the lab's in the basement, maybe he's so angry because he just doesn't get to experience any of the wildlife of outside. So we had this wasp in the pod, and we thought we'd shake it up a little bit, and just thoomph, and just send it down to him. And it buzzed around the lab for about an hour and a half. It was fantastic. It just sent it straight down to him. This angry wasp in the pod. Absolutely fantastic. Alright. Got another whistle marker. I've probably missed about 100. Any news stories? Not really. We've got a new guy starting tomorrow. And obviously the gloves are off for hazing the new guy. The famous one that we use down on collections is, sending the new guy downstairs to get the left-handed screwdriver. That one takes him a while. Sort of a rite of passage on the desk. So where's the train headed? I'm not entirely sure, but what I do know is that it's going via Mance. Tartan paint, yes, a long wait. Get a long wait from the office. Exactly. Yeah, it's only 18 as well, so all of this is going to work on him beautifully. The thing that's really good about him, and a desirable qualification that he has, is that he's never worked at Specsavers before, because people may or may not know that I work at Specsavers. 90% of you do, I'm sure. But the guy has some experience with lab work, like glasses lenses, like on a lab technician side of thing, which kind of makes him sort of a desirable for our desk, because we deal with the glasses after they've had lenses put in, which means if there's any complex problems or complex explanations that are required to say to customers asinine questions, then we have the man to do it. If somebody asks, oh, I'm getting a little bit of refraction about 2/3 of the way up my varifocal lens between the dividing distance and reading about, I don't know, 13 inches from the rim when I'm outside in daylight at a 1 o'clock sun. I would never have been. But old New Man Fu, as I'm calling him as of right now, will hopefully have some answers, which is pretty good. Why is the upper light green and the lower one red? I don't understand it. It, I believe, is something to do with the junctions, or like to show the opposite way. I'm not entirely sure why there's 4 signals on a two-track railway, or 2-railway track, or whatever. Well, there's the IT story as well. Oh god, the IT story is fantastic. God, the IT story. What a story. An IT apprenticeship I did way back. So I'm at college, which I don't know how it works. I know obviously in America, so we have a slightly different. So in the UK, it's you go nursery, reception, or no, nursery, infant school, primary school, secondary school, college, university. So college for some people, as I know it, might be recognised as high school for other people. So, I'm at college. I'm doing a level 3 subsidiary diploma in software development. Alright? And I'm an alright kid. Could work harder, but ultimately have an okay talent for IT. So I get asked to cover or pilot a scheme, a work experience scheme with the firm Capita. Now, Capita is one of these outsource IT companies. Chances are, if there's a business somewhere, like anywhere, and they outsource their IT, there's a fair chance that they've outsourced it to Capita. We've got another whistle signal. So, they select 6 of us from the 2 software dev groups. Yep, 500 yards, but we're not stopping. We're going via FOW. So we just power straight on through. So yeah, they grab about 6 of us, and we get distributed to different campuses across the city. I go with my one of my mates to the James Watt campus. Not that that means anything to you, but to me it makes sense. Anyway, so we're going via Salisbury. That's fine. We're still on the motor then. So yeah, we go via Salisbury. No, we go to the campus, and the way that the head of IT or the head of department was selling it to us that we have to dress to impress. We are piloting a prestigious work experience scheme that could bridge a potential partnership between the college and this IT firm. It's vitally important that we do well. Okay, so here we are. You know, we've been told to dress to impress. So I turn up on the day about half an hour before I'm due to be there. I want to make sure I'm there early, make a good impression. I have come in a white shirt, a tie, trousers, like proper trousers, suit trousers, and suit shoes. The Sunday best I have come in. So it's a black tie and black trousers. And my mate has come in a full, like, 2-piece suit. He's got the blazer, the trousers, he's wearing the fresh crepes. I did not wear a tuxedo, and neither did my friend, but we were dressed... he was dressed for a wedding, I was dressed for a funeral. The story gets better. So we're sitting there in the sort of main lobby area of this college, and we're just waiting. We've been told that our IT contact from Capita is going to be meeting us there, by the name of Chris Earp. Now, I want you to imagine, sort of, if you could imagine a name, you know, in your head, what does a Joe look like? You know, what does Joe look like? If I was to think Joe, what would come to mind? If I was to say the Nathan, what would come to mind? You know, what does your mind eye see? What does a Nathan look like? And now ask yourself, what does a Chris Earp look like? Well, let me tell you, he is the picture postcard definition of what you would imagine Chris Earp to look like. So, we're sitting there, and we just hear from across the lobby, lads, obviously beckoning to me and my friend here, who I shall call, for the sake of this story, Lewis, as that was his name. We got junctions here, points, scared. We're actually slowing down, so I'm going to try and keep the train going at a decent speed here, but I'm flat out, there's nothing else I can do. So, we turn around to see Chris Earp. He's about 5'5". He is a very large gentleman, to say the least. He is a big guy. He's wearing boots, dirty combat like cargo trousers, a dirty plaid red shirt, and has the greatest mullet of all time. But, like, he has simultaneously too much hair and not enough, as he's got this really straight mullet that comes down in every direction, like Mama's bowl cut in every direction, apart from the top where the seam is, on the top of his head, where it is quite clear the first stages of balding are taking hold. So this specimen, standing there in his dirty clothes, and we're standing there, sitting there in the lobby, dressed like two angels sent from God. And we kind of he chuckles loudly at the fact we're overdressed. Oh, you're really overdressed, aren't you? And sort of just walks off and beckons for us to follow. So that was the first indication that this was not going to be a normal visit or normal trip. We're actually getting to flattening out here, which is quite interesting. So, we follow Chris Earp back to the IT room, and I want to impress on you how big of a guy Chris Earp is. The plaid shirt he was wearing, the seamstress, or the seamster, who had made the shirt, who had put the buttons on that shirt, must be paid in not coins nor paper currency, but in gold and diamonds, for the amount of strain placed upon those buttons, holding back the wall of fat that was Chris Earp's belly. The tension on the shirt was nothing short of incredible. It was truly something to behold, if nothing else. It was the kind of strain where you can pretty much see straight between each of the buttons as the fabric sort of horribly, barely covers the enormous gut that it wreathes behind it. Your storytelling skills are incredible. Thank you very much. So I want to impress that upon you, just because the story I'm going to tell now is quite important. So I just want you to imagine Chris Earp in the scenario. So I've told you how he looks and how we met, and I will fast forward it to the afternoon on the second day. We are sitting in a very small room, which is basically the IT office. They have been swept off into a tiny room where the mail is bagged, like literally a cupboard, right? Chris Earp is the head, and he's got one other like Asian IT guy with him that's barely ever in because he's shared with another campus. So Chris Earp is basically on his own most of the time. Now, I want you to picture it. It's full of clutter, old computers, stuff everywhere. There's not a clean surface. Chris Earp's desk is a war zone, is a no man's land of paper forms, empty mugs, keyboards, mice, computer mice, like everything. There's everything on this computer desk. And the room itself is covered in an equal amount of clutter. The chair that I'm sitting in, to paint the scene, Chris Earp's, if you walk into the room, imagine a square room, the door is on the very right hand side of the room. So as you come in, you are on the right hand wall, and the room is like a box that stretches out to the left. Chris Earp's desk is on the back left corner, looking towards you. So he's peering over his monitor at the door to you. Just in front of his desk is an enormous stack of paper, and a chair where I am sitting. So I am sitting between a stack of paper, his desk with the monitor. I am also speeding rather considerably. Let's just get a little bit of brake on there. It looks like we're on the downhill portion of this crazy train. Just let the initial reduction kick in. There, just manage the brake pressure to get the initial reduction in there. I'll kind of feather the brake as I go. The downhill roll should just give it a few amps. Sorry, bear with me, I'll get back to the story, as we seem to be rolling to a stop here, despite the fact that the pressure is equal and we're on a downhill slope. Just got to bleed some amps into the system. I think the problem is that the arse of our train is still on the uphill bit, which is kind of slowing us down until we get the downwards momentum. Right. First rule of IT areas is never throw out hardware. Precisely. We're meant to be going downhill. Speed up. Find the speed. There we go. So, I'm sitting in front of this stack of paper, or shall we say from the perspective of Chris Earp, behind this stack of paper. Okay, and again, remember Chris Earp as an image in your mind. I don't know why I'm not speeding up at all here. We are literally going downhill. I'm hoping we will find some way of speeding up in the not too distant future. Anyway, Chris Earp. My friend is sitting across the way from me, so I've got my back to the left-hand wall, again from the perspective of the front door. And my friend is sitting virtually in front of that door on another chair. The room is absolutely silent. There's not a soul can be heard. Apart from the occasional, clack from Chris Earp, nothing. you could hear a pin drop over no other sound except the AC unit slowly humming away in the sort of the roof of the room. So we're sitting there silently, and from Chris Earp's computer, and again, remember Chris, remember him, remember how he looks. The computer speakers fire up, and with no emotion, no soul in his face, he doesn't even move. Nothing happens emotionally in this man's face. From the computer speakers we hear, "No, God! No, God, please, no! No! No!" And then this explosion of what sounds like blood and gore and guts. It's, well, the immediate instinct was to start cracking up, right? But we're meant to be on best behaviour, mind you. The desire, the will to laugh, to explode with laughter at this totally random and hilarious thing that has befallen us is overwhelming. Literally overwhelming. I am struggling to hold back this laugh, and I want to impress on you how much I am struggling to hold back the laugh here. To paint the picture again, we're sitting in a totally silent room. Every little noise can be heard. And I am leaning down behind this stack of paper, just sort of slumped in my chair, holding back this laughter. And my friend, Lewis, across the room, we keep locking eyes with each other. I'm sure you've had this in the past where someone's teacher's told you off, or the wife's told you off or something on a night out, but you keep crossing eyes with your mates, and you keep, like, laughing. It keeps stirring your need to laugh. And every time I made contact with him, the laughter would build up again. Now, again, I want to impress just how close I am to a bawling laugh. This noise comes over the speaker. No, God, no! This explosion of God, and there isn't a flicker of emotion. Nothing. There is nothing in Chris Earp's face. He hasn't even registered there's a noise. Totally vacant expression. And I'm trying to hold back my laughter. It's the kind of laughter, but I'm trying not to make the sound. And the tummy rumbling laugh, the laugh that is sitting in my stomach, it's getting too much. And when you try not to laugh and you can't contain it, you make a noise. You go, you do that. As a little bit of laughter escapes from between your lips as you're trying to hold it. Now I'm trying to keep this laughing. All other extremities are aching. In order to contain this laugh, I have got tears streaming down my face. I'm growing a couple of candles from my nose. Literally. And you do the face. You're right, Boo. You do the face. I've got tears and snot streaming down my face. I'm trying to hold this laughter in with every fibre of my being. And every time I make eye contact with Lewis across the room, and at first Chris Earp he starts looking around the monitor and does nothing. And again, I'm slumped down in my chair behind this enormous stack of A4 paper. Creeping through the cracks, I can't hold it. And eventually I'm starting to make enough noise from behind this paper stack that I couldn't look at him. I'd look at the floor, I'd contain myself, and then I'd look up, and Lewis would be there smiling at me, barely containing his own laughter. And it'd set me off again. I'd start laughing. There'd be nothing I could do. And at this point, I'm basically sniggering. And Chris Earp stands up from his desk and looks over at me. And this stack of paper is only at eye level with me. As soon as Chris Earp stands up from his desk, although a short man, he sees me. And in the single greatest save ever delivered by a human being, Lewis goes, "Joe, your hay fever's pretty bad, isn't it?" And the only thing that I can concoct from my red-eyed, tear-streaming, candle-growing face is, "Yeah." So, he suggests maybe you should go to the bathroom and sort yourself out. That's a good idea. And with Chris Earp saying nothing, I stand up from my chair. I walk to the other side of the room in total silence. I open the door. I step free from the office. And I close the door behind me. And this door wasn't like a fire door. It was one of these doors that's like you could hear an ant crawling on the other side. It does nothing to, insulate the noise of the room outside. And I step out. And I close the door. And from this silent office, from the other side of this front door, you just hear, "Ah!" I just explode in the mailroom. Like, I thought maybe the door might shield it, but you could hear it as crystal clear as if I had burst out laughing in that room. That it did nothing. And I went to the toilet. I cleaned my face up. It looked like someone had delivered me the worst news ever. I washed my face clean, and I walked back, and I sat in the office, and we just carried on as normal. But that is my IT story. That is my IT story. Apologies, it sort of broke down there. But again, I wanted to impress, just again, Chris Earp's face, the noise from the computer screen, and just how unbelievably funny that was. Like, I cannot impress on you just how hilarious the whole situation was. It was actually the funniest thing I maybe had ever seen. It was really too much. Lewis the Legend, that's right. What was he even watching? I don't know to this day. Boot, thank you very much for the 5 subs, sir, and an extra gifted... No, it's all there. Crying with laughter right now. Literally the funniest thing ever. And the whole... It was all made so much more... unbelievably worse by the fact that we were trying to be on our best behaviour. We knew that we couldn't laugh, but how could you not? How could you not laugh at that? There was no way to contain it. So, are you on a world record pace? I don't know. I could well be. You killed Lewis, who was still in the room. He didn't. Apparently, Chris Earp didn't even really respond to the fact that we had both burst out laughing. I don't know why. I don't know whether a heated email was written later, but yes. That was our story. The other hilarious thing was as well, like the fact that, and I'm sure anybody could
keep the change.
Could really in the box. Thank
Monies
you
for amazing story.
Well, thank you very much. That's very kind. Best save ever, ruined by King Q. It really was. Maybe he just wanted to test you with bullshit. Who knows? Maybe he did. We actually met up with Chris Earp the year later, because it was a 2-year course, and we did the same thing again. There wasn't necessarily a guarantee that we were going to end up with Chris Earp, but the universe, the stars and planets aligned, and we ended up with Chris Earp again, and we ended up having a really good laugh about it. But yeah, the other story I have from Chris Earp is, it's not really a story about Chris Earp per se in the same way, because there's really no topping that story. But obviously Chris Earp was wearing boots, and me and Lewis were out in the fresh crepes. For people who aren't down with the children per se, in a slightly non-sinister way, the fresh crepes are our new shoes. We're wearing brand new work shoes from like a supermarket, right? By the time we'd completed our first day, on the heel, the blisters, bone was showing, blood was spilt. Like, my friend Lewis, his shoes had rubbed him right down to the cartilage. Only slightly non-sinister. I should have said fully non-sinister. I regret my decision of choosing only slightly non-sinister. The fully non-sinister, I should say, or clarify. Anyway, what kept happening was, because the college was spread out over several floors, he kept taking us to jobs on the 1st and 2nd floor. And if you've got... Oh, that's a train. A train has come the other way, folks. Well, another general... Oh, no, this is a intermodal. Very cool. Very, very cool. Awesome. It's a big train. Holy shit. Good God, look at it go. Fools did not break them in. They were brand new. They were literally brand new. And we didn't think to break them in. And you don't really think to break in new shoes until after they've destroyed the back of your heels. So, intermodals are hella long, and this is proving it. Should be getting to the end any second now. There it is. So yeah, the walk that me and Lewis were having to do, because obviously we, like, if you've tried walking in shoes that are obviously brand new, the pain from the blisters is unbelievable. And he was just motoring off, Chris Earp, in all of his button shirt majesty, and all me and Lewis could handle was sort of this really awkward high-speed shuffle, just squeaking of shit. It sounded like a sports hall. The squeaking of our shoes as we're trying to keep up with him. It was so good. Honestly, it was the most awkward, terrible, but simultaneously hilarious, and just I yearn to live that life again with Chris Earp. I want to go and fight crime with him in some alter ego, in some alternate universe. I want to, Chris Earp. Absolutely. I could close my eyes and put a pencil to paper and draw his face. I've never forgotten. It was magic. But that is my IT story. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Yeah, holy shit. Brilliant. I'm trying to think, are there any other stories that I could tell? Nothing really tops the Chris Earp story. Or the Wasp story. No, I can't say I've put my best one out. Can we get a Chris Earp, or Earp even, with a P, E-A-R-P, I suppose, was his surname. Can we get a mod for LA Noire? I can only hope that the modding community would allow such a graceful bastard to grace that. It's just, he's too good looking. You can't. Objective complete. 6.8 miles. Is that to the stop? Stop at location Rockwood, Maine 1. We are 6.7 miles from our destination. Excellent. Think you might do some sort of D&D stream as the Dungeon Master? Your way of telling stories is amazing. Thank you. Skyrim mod then, perhaps. Yes, Chris Earp, the Skyrim mod. That would be fantastic. Yeah, holy shit. Yeah, so I could do some dungeon mastering. It's just I've never really done it before. I could be an okay DM, I guess, but I'd have to like write some kind of script or something. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. Ew, I have the 75k bit badge and it's green. Ugh. Oh yes, I put an interesting question in chat in the Soviet Womble Discord earlier, and I put it to you now, the patrons here of this stream. I ask you, my friends, salt and vinegar crisps, should they come in a blue bag or a green bag? Discuss. For I am of the volition that salt and vinegar should be in a green bag. I am on team green. No, I'm on team blue. Oh, I don't know. Blue bag? Blue bag green? Oh, no. Yes. See, the division. Are they in bags? Green? Yes, green. Pickles is in green. Green? I don't know. They suck anyway. There's Camp Blue and Camp Green, and then the like 5%, which are salt and vinegar. But yes, as a whole, it is an interesting one. What have I done? What have I done? What have I done? Yes, I have put to the chat the question. Green is for cheese and onion. Yvek is going through a crisis over crisps. It's just interesting to see how people are divided on it. Because here in the UK, the big brand of crisps, the mainstay brand of crisps, is Walker's. And Walker's have a green bag for salt and vinegar. The other, I would say, number 2, insofar as suggesting, is a brand called Snack Right.
You filthy animal.
And they have a green bag also for salt and vinegar crisps, and their cheese and onion are blue. Over here, cheese and onion are mostly in red. Crombot, I don't know what back-asswards part of the world you come from, but that's the craziest thing I've ever heard, having cheese and onion in a red bag. Shadow Killer says, oh my Q, you managed to recreate the mess Brexit is with crisps, a 50-50 division and a civil war incoming, perhaps. In the UK, Walkers, in the rest of the EU, it's Lay's. Seabrooks, Quebec? I've never heard of such things. Pink is for salt and vinegar. What? No. Starting to speed again. Wouldn't be the first time. Lovely. I think we can all agree red is for ready salted. Well, not Mr. Cheese and Onion up there. Pink is prawn and cocktail. I would agree with that. Got tons of crisp makers here where I live. Lucky man. Right, let's release the brake. Let's release all brakes. Give it a little bit of power here, as we're kind of coming to a stop. McCoys are blue, and there is a chip shop salt and vinegar, and they are the best, so it is blue. Yes, to be fair, the salt and vinegar from McCoy. McCoy's is a good crisp. What are people's favourite crisps? That's a good question. I myself find the burning ring of fire aside, cheese and jalapeno from the Walker's Max range. I don't know whether you have that in Europe. Lay's Max. Max Lay's. Truffles crisps. A truffle flavoured crisp. Salted. Puddle of Fun. Salted crisps. Puddle of Fun. Ready salted crisps as the favourite flavour. Those fecking crisps, yeah. Salt and vinegar, Sainsbury's French fries, prime rib and horseradish, interesting. Max paprika, yes, another good one. McCoy's cheese and onion. We have that in Germany. The best are salt and pepper. I do actually quite like salt and pepper. The Tyrell's ones, or maybe not even the Tyrell's ones, but just salt and pepper in general, is a good crisp. Kettle chips. Yeah, I do like kettle chips as well. Very good. I have been cited. Oh, sorry, I have been slighted. I demand retribution. McCoy's chip shop curry. I didn't know McCoy's did a chip shop curry. My favourite McCoy's crisp probably has to be the Thai sweet chili one, or the chicken chili, whatever it's called. It's not roast chicken, it's the other one. The Thai sweet chicken or something. So get a little bit of initial reduction. Let's get a little bit of air brake in there. Just sort of slow the train down. Going to be coming to a yard very soon. 45 mile an hour. In 2.2 miles we reach a yellow signal. We'll be going to 45 mile an hour soon. Which, to be honest, will be my favourite because, Jesus, this has been the life. We are literally going to be completing the whole stream with one route. Like, this is literally, this whole thing, 2 hours, has been one route. Like, Jesus H. Christ. Oh, we need to give it some throttle as we are now travelling uphill. Let's let the GP28 gather its electricity, or the GP40. Going uphill again. Skips. What are people's thoughts on skips? Again, might not be an international thing, but skips is very high up there as my favourite flavour of crisp in general. I don't know why, I just like it. Remember to stop the train at the end of the tracks. We don't want a London Paddington incident. Skips are one of the best. I'm good. Good. Blast from the past there, Mr. Q. Skip's End in a big clump. Oh yes, the best. Anyone remember Prawn Cocktail Quavers? Sort of a dark chapter. I don't know why the Prawn Cocktail ones didn't catch on. They were very... my memory of Prawn Cocktail as a sophisticated old man at the ripe old age of 21, soon to be a devastating 22. My memory of Prawn and Cocktail crisps is that they were very, very prawn and cocktaily. They had a very pungent flavour. Yes, that is my memory of. Scampi fries, anyone? I never really had them, Johnny. Never really had them. Oh, what's with the UK and their obsession with 6 packs of crisps? Poundland is our obsession with 6 packs of crisps. Poundland is like, it's like, well, we could give him like a big multi-bag. That wouldn't be £1. So we'll give him a really small 6-pack of a single flavour and call it even. Literally the only reason. A pub staple, indeed. What about favourite pom bears? Pom bears never really liked. Didn't like them. Didn't like them. I've got to be honest. I've got a bit of a controversial view on mini cheddars as well. Officially in the yuck. Like, if you have like a bag of mini cheddars in quick succession, there is not enough water in the world to sate the thirst that is forced upon thine throat. It is not feasible. Barbecue mini cheddars. Ugh. Favourite pub snacks? Favourite pub snack? Just more beer, to be honest. I end up going to a pub that ends up serving food, so I end up just getting like a small like plate of crispy chicken wings and just have them, as opposed to like crisps or something. I know you want something to soak up the alcohol, but like the whole point of like pub snacks is that they put crisps and peanuts out because they make the punters thirsty, so they buy more drinks. That's where it's at. So my favourite sort of pub snack, if you like, isn't necessarily one. We've got to get ready to stop, potentially, because we've got a yellow signal coming up, which means we might be in a position that we need to stop. Here's a yellow. We'll see when it is to the next red signal, and we'll begin our descent to 0 miles an hour. What about cheese and crackers? The one with a thin layer of sweet cheese on top? I'm not familiar if that's a crisp. Mini cheddars are only good in small quantities, yeah. NCR, I'm proud. Okay, we're running on another yellow. They're just giving us enough time to stop. It's now very late. It's 10:30 at night. We're up and over. You just need finger food to get something to eat, like nuggets or something, but something that goes well with the drinks, yeah. What about the Sensations crisps? Very fancy, I know. The chili ones, the sweet chili. All the way. I don't really like the other flavours in the same way. Sensations crisps as well are the only bag of crisps that I've ever opened and somehow inexplicably are all still whole crisps. Like, I tend to find a lot of crisps in supermarkets, when you open the bag, they have all been smashed into a fine powder, and they are literally just like, you just line it up on the table and go, and then that's how you eat the bag. But Sensations crisps, for some reason, is the only bag that I open, and then they're like in one piece, which is just rare for some. I don't know whether it's the type of bag that they're in, or whether there's like a promise of death to all ye who break thee. So yeah, I'm not sure. Thoughts on Whatsits? They're just full of air, and they're basically like it's a puffy, like airy crisp. So as soon as you bite into it, it just sort of, they don't fill you up. The reason they're like, you know, like women are like, you see the adverts where they sell them as only 70 calories, is because what you are literally eating is a tiny piece of cheese snot once you've actually chewed the thing. Like, you are just inhaling Cheeto dust, as it were. I just wanted to say, snore the crisps, but you beat me to it, yeah. What about French fries? Not much of a fan. We need to actually think about stopping. So let's run down to what will be minimum reduction here. That shouldn't be too bad. Going about 30 miles an hour. Let's get it down to initial... Let's release the brake. And then get it down to initial reduction. Not necessarily service, but definitely initial. What about Marmite Walkers? Not really had that many to form an everlasting bond. Don't mind them, for sure. Here we go, we're on approach. Release the brake, we're just going to coast in. Brilliant. Have you experienced honey roasted nuts? No, Elf, for I have an allergy of a nut type. Nut and peanut. So I have never... In fact, that's not true. The only time I've ever experienced peanuts is at a cinema here in Birmingham, where my dad asked for a bag of M&Ms from the clerk behind the counter, without specifically stating not to get peanut M&Ms. Received a bag of peanut M&Ms. This was when I was about 9 years old, 10 years old. To give you an idea of time frame, we were watching the first Madagascar at the cinema, and my dad buys these, what we believe to understand as peanut M&Ms, and obviously I eat a few, not knowing what peanut is or what it tastes like, and how afraid I should be of the damn thing. And I hand the bag up to my dad after me and my brother have had a couple each. And my dad asks, we're sitting there watching the film, my dad taps me on the shoulder after having a couple himself, going, "Joe, these are peanut M&Ms. And I go, you know, and he goes, "Have you had any?" And me being 10 said no. I'm a fucking idiot. Like, natural selection would have swallowed me whole many years ago if it wasn't for modern medicine. So let's get it on initial reduction again. So the about halfway through the film, or not even less than that, about half an hour into the film, I start to feel unwell, in a word, and I go up and sit with my dad, who were sitting on like the one side of the cinema, so not in the middle but on the side, so it was a small row. So me and my little brother were sitting in front, and I went up and sat with Dad, and he goes, "You had some, didn't you?" And then finally I fess up, "Yes." And we go to the hospital, and I remember lying there in the hospital bed at the ripe old age of 10, you know, extremely weak and faint, thinking, "Oh, it's been a good run, you know, I've had a good life, you know, 10 years old, so it's a good time to throw in the towel, you know, it's been fun." I'm just going to creep it forward to the stop point. If the game will let me. Give it some beans, come on, creep forward, you bastard. Not that fast. This is not good for the engine, what I'm doing here, but this will do. I'll roll to a stop here. Surely the game will let me have this. No? Oh, I need to stop the engine, that's why. Turn the light on, and then engine off. How do I turn the engine off? How do I complete the scenario? I'm stopped here. Hang on. I've done it, game. There we go, did it. Apparently I wasn't close enough. Right, so your speed limit, performance graph. Okay. Apparently I really missed out on some of the speed limits. I didn't really go over, which is good. Stop accuracy was naff, apparently. I don't know how well I did. It took nearly 2 hours. We went a little bit over here and then coasted to a stop like. Interesting. It's a very inconsistent graph. But ultimately below the line. It depends what kind of data you're trying to get. Here was very interesting. Just Anyway, yeah, so I remember lying in the hospital bed thinking to myself, yeah, it's been a good run. 10 years. Yeah. It could all come to a close now. It'd be all right. I remember very vividly. They were taking I was hooked up to like a heart monitor. You know, the little thing that goes on the end of your finger, and it was measuring my blood pressure. And you've got diastolic and systolic blood pressure. I forget which way round they are, but one is meant to be much higher than the other. And I remember the two getting closer and closer together as sort of my heart started to beat slower and slower. And then I got given this shot of, and I have no idea what it was, but giving a child alcohol at that age was incredibly irresponsible at the hospital. No, they gave me like a shot of like adrenaline, like in a little pink cap, like a pink solution. After about a quarter of an hour, less than that, about 10 minutes, the blood pressure started to separate again. And, yeah, it was, I started to pep up. I started to pepe up a little bit. And ultimately survived. All very, yeah. It was very much one of those coming out of the hospital with Dad, very much don't tell your mother. Yeah, very much one of those. Do you want it? Don't tell your mum. It's just like, can we go out for ice cream? Yeah, we'll go out for ice cream. Yeah, modern medicine is awesome at cheating death. That's what it was made for. So very, very grateful. Saved me at the age of 10. Did you see the end of the film though? No. I did not watch the end of Madagascar. I think I watched it. Well, I think I watched it years later on the telly. I think I did eventually tick it off. But yeah, that is it. That is my story. There have been many stories, many questions about flavour of crisps. Much rabbiting has been done. Managed to entertain about 300 of you by the close of business here. So I'm glad you enjoyed this slice of Cube Talks, Bear Chat. Ooh, burpy burp. I've managed to make my tiny mouthful of water last the whole stream. Oh, which means I've got a mouth like a bloody pharaoh's shoe. But yes, that is it from me. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'd like to give a big thank you to In The Box. I'd like to give a big thank you also to Elf, Melkor, and Foulmore as well. And to everybody else that has dropped bits, Shadow Killer as well. Of course, you get my thanks too for the donations there. And just everybody else for chilling out tonight. I never expect Train Sim World to do that well, to be honest. But it's not necessarily that complicated of a game. And my sort of tiny, tired mind after a day of work can kind of handle it. We will be doing more LA Noire at some point soon. May even try some Cold Waters again, just sort of wriggle that in there. There's lots of little games we can be trying and playing. I do want to do some more FTL at some point. But yes, thank you for dropping in. I shall see you again soon. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say. Thank you very much for everybody for dropping in. Thank you to all the follows. There have been plenty of you this fine afternoon here, or this fine evening. So if you've enjoyed the content you've seen and you would like to see more, as and when the log is ready to drop, we'll see you when it happens. So thanks again, folks, and I'll see you all soon. Have a pleasant evening, have a pleasant night, and I'll catch you then. Bye bye.